The following podcast will contain spoilers for all aired episodes in HBO's Game of Thrones and all published books in George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. I guess people don't go in there.
If they found her, she could just, I don't know what excuse she would give.
They would walk in and be like, Melisandre,
I haven't put my makeup on yet, you understand.
They just assume she's some crazy old lady, like a wildling or something.
Mother Mole.
I did.
Mother Mole, she's here. Welcome to the Bastards of the King's Grave DragonCast edition. We're back to review the sixth season of Game of Thrones as best as we possibly can, starting of course with the premiere episode, The Red Woman, which has just finished airing. We have some old hosts joining us from past DragonCast seasons and some new ones too, and we'll no doubt have many more joining us as the season goes on. My name is Zach, also known as Alias on the forums, and joining me for this review we have
Adam, also known as DrownedSnow.
This is Casey, Blue-Eyed Queen on the forums.
This is Katie, LadyGriffin on the forums.
Matt, it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Matt Varley in the forums.
And I am Paul, SerDinnerRoll on the forums, the baby of the group.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to talking to all of you about what exactly you thought about the first episode of this new season. So let's go ahead and get into it. How many lemon cakes out of 5 would you give The Red Woman, Adam?
Oh, man. You know, I try to at least let some time go by before my lemon cakes. I don't know. I thought it was a solid episode, although a lot of things made me say what the fuck. But
sure.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. Like I'll give it a 3.5. I'm gonna conservative 3.5.
All right. And what did you think, Casey?
I'm going to give it a 3. There were some good things and there were some bad things. But I think overall more good-ish. It was solid.
All right, this is usually how this goes. I feel like usually this is the tenor of the reviews. So, what did you think, Katie? Usually, you have something more decisive.
Then I'm gonna disappoint. I'll give it, I'll give it a middling 3.5. Like at this point, fair. I feel drunk when I'm watching this episode. I felt drunk when I was watching this episode.
I do get drunk.
It's very disorienting.
Well, not disorienting. It's just there's nothing left to disappoint me, and my investment is so low that I'm kind of happy about it. I'm like, man, I'm enjoying this way more than I did last season, even though I don't care as much. So I don't really know how to qualify that. It's like my investment is so low that I can give it a higher score.
You got to the top of the cliff, and now you're coming over the other side, and it's all downhill.
Yeah, I mean, only one thing really annoyed me, and other than that, I was like, this is all good fun. It's not as dour as I remember last, or maybe I feel like I've been too harsh on last season. Maybe it's just
it feels fully like fan fiction or something like that at this point. It feels like I can just get into it and enjoy it, and there's a lot of, I don't know, it just feels lighter for some reason. Maybe it's just we're taking it less seriously, or maybe the stuff is genuinely less serious. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Low expectations are amazing.
Yeah, they're. That's why I liked Batman Superman, was the low expectations. It's a powerful force.
All those bad reviews helped me enjoy it.
Exactly. Thank you, reviewers. All right, Matt, what did you think?
I'll give it 4.5 because it butchered the Dorne storyline in a good way. We're done.
Typical Matt.
Literally butchered.
Yeah, we're done.
All right.
Besides that, I think Castle Black is going to be weird for a while. Melisandre obviously is going to be weird. So we'll see where it goes. But good opening premiere and good just killing everything in Dorne.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Now, what did you think about the killing everything in Dorne, Paul?
If I had say one time that I've ever really truly been angry at Game of Thrones, it's when they fucked up Dorne somehow. So even though I still give the episode a 3 because I felt, I don't know, it was kind of good to hear Davos again. So that was the plus that made it a 3.
So last year you were mad at the show pretty much the whole year.
I wanted to strangle each and every actress who played the Sand Snakes and Ilaria. So just a bit.
Yeah, but now you know they'll get killed, right?
Can we stop on that for 1 second real quick? And can someone clear something up for me? I mean, I know, Matt, you rewatched recently. I didn't. How the hell did they get on that boat?
I don't know.
They don't. Wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we saw them
wait a minute.
Actually, now that you bring that up, I don't know.
Wasn't he I thought?
Wait a minute.
I mean, I guess my interpretation was like maybe Jaime just sent him back for some reason.
No,
like,
he was in King's Landing, wasn't he?
Where the fuck? Well, it looked clearly like the cabin of a boat. Like the back of the windows and everything.
Yeah,
where
like
the fuck was that? And why was he not in
boat.
prison in King's Landing?
And everyone was standing on the boat, like when Ilaria, like, what the fuck just happened?
Like, yeah, like he was on the boat going to King's Landing at the end of the season, right? I'm not wrong about that.
He was on the boat.
Well, he was like 30 feet offshore when fucking Marcella died, and then they kept on sailing on.
Yeah, okay, but I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't like somewhere else, and I'm forgetting. No. That's all I wanted to be clear on.
He was definitely painting her weird funeral eye stones, so he knew that she was dead. And they were like, all three of them were on shore when the boat left, so unless they rowed really hard for King's Landing, that is a gaping plot hole.
They watched the boat go away, and they're like, quick, to the sand sub! And
I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with like them just killing everyone in Dorne off. You needed a scene with them on a boat, and then sneaking onto that boat real quick or something. I'm fine. But right now, it's magic.
Sure.
I'm gonna laugh though if we go back and we look at that, because it's a really quick cut before we go into the cabin with Trystane. It just shows the ship sitting in the bay in King's Landing. I'm gonna laugh if we look at that and there's just like a tiny little dinghy beside it, like they were rowing after them the whole time.
This proves my theory that the sand snakes are merlings.
Oh my god.
Confirmed.
No, it doesn't. No.
Totally.
First of all,
sorry for that aside. That was bugging me the last 30 minutes.
We can have half our Dorne discussion now.
Now it's bugging me.
It's obviously on everybody's mind. But first, I guess, we'll be moving to the wall. So just to be clear, since this is our first episode of the season, the way we normally do this is we go region to region, covering all the scenes we get in the region before moving to the next. In this case, we're going to kind of go with the show's chronology, because there's only one time where we get two parts of one region, which is the wall. So we'll start with the first part of the wall, and then we'll end the review with the last part of the wall. So with that, let us go in, starting with the summary. We begin on the wall with Davos, sleepless in the middle of the night. He goes outside at the sound of a wolf's howl and finds Jon Snow dead in the snow, beside a sign marking him a traitor. Davos and some loyal Night's Watchmen take Jon inside. He appears to be dead, and Melisandre arrives to see the body for herself. So we'll start with this little bit here. Any thoughts on this part? It's not a lot to say, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck?
All right.
What do you mean?
How many people are there in Castle Black that didn't realize that someone was getting murdered, and then everyone went out to have a drink or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's down under cover of darkness. It was secret.
Well, my favorite thing is Ed when he shows up and they're like, "Who do you trust? Just these random guys we've never seen before in this room with me?" Because everyone else is dead.
Yeah,
like,
when
he's made good friends with them on screen or something.
Yeah, the fact that he was volunteering them all for death, I could tell a few of them in the back room were like, I didn't sign up for this. Let me out.
Yeah, they're all in the strike room together now.
They're rapists,
we
they're drug
discussed
dealers,
that earlier,
and some of them, I assume, are nice people.
Wait a minute. What are they drug dealing? What drugs are they dealing in Westeros? Hold on.
Red leaf.
Yeah, okay.
Milk of the poppy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
They don't send their best to the wall, man. Come on, that's why they built the wall.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I guess all I would say about this little bit is obviously they're doing something. I mean, we get this obviously more at the end. They're doing something with Melisandre and Jon. Obviously, she's probably going to resurrect him. They're pretty clearly telegraphing that we haven't seen him yet. But for now, Jon is still dead, so...
She looked weirdly emotional when she saw him corpseified.
It makes me think that she is, like, gone, in the show at least, she's gone with, like, Jon is Azor Ahai or something, even though they haven't really talked about that.
The quote I got from her was, "I saw him in the flames fighting in Winterfell," and I was like, ooh, foreshadowing. Hopefully,
I just don't buy that she would be that sentimental unless it's supposed to be like, oh, this is one more notch in the my powers are useless penny jar.
That's what I picked up on. It was just like everything's gone to shit and now he's dead too and she's out of it.
I'm really scared they're going to make her fuck the corpse. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I told my friend
I was a little worried about that tonight. Yeah.
The shadows come to play, my lord.
Like, oh boy.
Oh,
I mean, this is more at the end, but I'm scared that Davos and Melisandre are gonna...
Nope.
Like a resurrection shadow.
Davos already knows.
Well, no, Davos doesn't know what's gone down yet.
He knows about Melisandre with his shadow babies.
Yeah. But he doesn't know about Shireen. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, not yet, no.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a step back and go to the Alistair Thorne scene in the hall where he tries to pacify the angry Night's Watchman by making it clear that he only did what was good for the Watch. Dolorous Ed is having none of that and plots with Davos and Tormund, some other guys that you mentioned, Adam, to deal with Alistair and his cronies. Again, not a whole lot to say about this, but yeah, we're just kind of getting the stakes set up for what's going on the wall.
So the only thing I had to say about Alistair is, like, he's basically saying, I followed all orders except that, I murdered him.
Yeah, just this tiny gray area.
No big deal.
I mean, the wall isn't full of the best people, but it is interesting how they're all like, hey, fuck you, you're a murderer. And, like, the room is not very pleasant. It flips really quickly because he's like, hey, I'm a knight and I did what's right. And they're like, I guess.
We all stabbed him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, it's all good.
But they called them, but even then, like, that's supposed to lend credibility. But even then, they all were like, you traitor, murderer, because a lot of people, I think, liked him. But, I mean, he still harps on the whole letting the wildlings through. And not a man in that room was like, hey, I was that hard home. Like, you should have had at least a few people be like,
I do think it didn't feel chaotic enough, though. I think you do have a point there, Adam. Like, it felt like people should have been more pissed off, or there should have been, like, genuine, like, fighting or something. I don't know. It just did.
Or, like, there could have been people on both sides, and it could have been really heated.
Like, where are the wildlings in all this?
His speech was just
they're about to come in.
Okay.
I think their next episode,
right, that's where
Tormund is going to fucking kill people.
Like, is the Night's Watch just going to be massacred?
I just want to see Ollie.
It's going to be like 3 guys trying to fix the wall.
I think that's how it will.
Yeah, but a bunch of wildlings probably trying to fix the wall too.
I'm sure they know how. I'm sure they're skilled builders. Yeah, I don't think anyone will mind Ollie getting what's coming to him.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like...
Well, I mean, just because he's a kid, it'd be awful for him to get his fucking head chopped off.
Maybe it would be awful.
Didn't mind watching Joffrey choke to death.
Yeah, he's a...
Yeah, but he wasn't 10.
It'd be a real shame if something happened, you know what I'm saying? Be a real shame. Really he trips and falls on a knife.
These things happen.
Multiple times. It's weird.
It does seem, though, that Dolorous Ed is Gandalfing. He's going to get reinforcements, and that will be what happens next.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He left, twice? Once to get Ghost and once to get the wildlings.
And yeah, all through the night, everyone just kind of they just let everyone sleep, and they're like, "Well, at breakfast, we'll tell them about the regime change."
You guys wouldn't believe what happened last night.
Let everyone sleep on it. Yeah.
And at the same time, too, like, let's say Lord Commander's dead, someone should be like, "Well, time for a vote."
Right. Yeah. It's a bizarre situation.
And wouldn't you think Alistair would be like, "Oh, the wildlings that we let through killed our Lord Commander"?
No, because he wants to do this on principle. The Night's Watch has a history of people going rogue anyway.
Right.
So
I thought it was bizarre, though, that I felt like the whole point about him always following orders was kind of a cheap justification for the whole thing with, like, letting the wildlings in. It just was a really weird way to explain himself.
Right. In Hardhome or whatever, the episode maybe after Hardhome,
yeah,
he's like, "Open the gate." It's like, yeah, he could have just been like, "Nope."
Well, the fact that there's a wall and a gate on that side anyway. But technically he's the one that did it.
Yeah, and that included the wildlings and Jon Snow, so...
All right. So let us go. I think that's all we've got on this part of the wall. We'll talk more about Melisandre, I'm sure, later. But first, let's go to Winterfell, where we have Ramsay standing over Miranda's dead body, mourning her death in his own fashion. He has her body fed to the hounds, as he is not a wasteful man. Roose meets his son in the hall and tells him that they must have Sansa Stark to win the North. He threatens that Ramsay will have no future as a Bolton if he cannot do this. So we get our sympathetic Ramsay moment here, eh?
Yeah, glad to see the protagonist was doing so well.
He was adorable.
My only thing about this scene, though, was would real Ramsay have been remorseful about that?
Nope.
No.
Yeah. And the actor Ewan, I love him, and it was so cute, and it was very well done. But I feel like it's like a little bit of a break from his real character. Like, he shouldn't feel sad about it. I mean, like, he does do that line at the end, like, she's meat, you can feed her to the dogs.
Yeah, he's kind of reminiscing in, like, I think the same way that he would reminisce over, his favorite cutting knife or something broke. Like, oh, I killed so many people with this. All right, put it in the trash. He's, like, momentarily sentimental over a tool that he used, less so, like, about the actual person, I think.
Sounded too much like a eulogy to me, though.
I guess for me, I didn't quite believe it, so I didn't think it was a problem. I didn't think it was out of character, but I guess if he does genuinely think those things, it is kind of odd.
It's only a little nuance. It's not like, I mean, Ramsay's a cartoon in the novels. It doesn't bother me that they've given him a little shading since we're spending so much time with him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have no problem with the Ramsay part and Roose kind of putting Ramsay in his place a little bit. I do have a problem with the logic behind they need Sansa and the North to defend the North from the Lannisters who gave them the North.
I don't think that was what he said. I think he was just saying this wasn't a real victory. I think maybe.
Well, but he was saying that, like, he arranged the marriage with Sansa, which was going to piss the Lannisters off, and they need the North to protect what's theirs, to protect the North when the Lannisters, come after them. That's the impression I got.
That is odd.
I'll have to watch that scene again, but I just know he said that he pissed off King's Landing by setting up the marriage, and now they need her to deal with King's Landing. That's what I could have sworn. That's what he said.
I didn't have a problem. It just seems like they've lost the what's the word I'm looking for? Like
legitimacy.
Yeah, the legitimacy of their claim is significantly weakened without her.
I guess it also kind of makes sense because this is the North, and the conflict there is obviously much closer, whereas the Lannisters aren't really a problem right now, so they need to consolidate things there before they look elsewhere. Even if it does alienate them with the Lannisters, they have nothing if they can't control the North to begin with. So.
No, it totally makes sense, but I mean, like in the book, this wasn't a problem, right? Because they had fake Arya given to them by Tywin, so.
Sure.
Ramsay, he's so hot right now, Ramsay.
Speaking of things that are not hot right now, let's go to somewhere in the north where Theon and Sansa are running for their lives, pursued by Ramsay's hounds. They cross a freezing river to try to escape, but they are unable to lose the hounds. Theon tells Sansa to make for the north, to Jon Snow, and gives himself up. The hunters don't believe his story that Sansa died in the fall, and they find her crouched in the snow. When all hope seems lost, Brienne and Podrick arrive in the nick of time and defeat the hunters after a short fight. Brienne lays her sword before Sansa and offers her service. This time Sansa accepts her vow. So we see what's going on with Sansa now. They're running away.
The fuck.
And Brienne saves them, and it's a big party now, yeah.
You didn't like that, Matt?
Matt has said what the fuck in every scene so far, so he has to stay consistent.
So Theon gave himself up?
Well, he gave himself up.
Okay, so even in the books, would he give himself up?
I think so. I think like in this situation where he's helping Sansa, yeah, I think that he doesn't value his life at all.
He's a broken man.
Sansa.
Yeah, but
when they jump off the walls. So I have no reason to believe that he would ever give up himself.
Really?
Yeah.
I completely disagree.
I kind of agree with Matt because giving himself up to the Boltons would just be asking for them to take him back to Ramsay, and God knows he'd rather die than that.
Yeah, but is Theon's logic super great right now? I feel like he
was counting on being killed.
It's never been great.
Yeah, he can attack them and die, maybe.
I feel like right now it's going to be either getting very tortured or not so much tortured. And I don't know how you choose between the two.
I mean, they didn't have a chance either way, right?
Yeah, I think that kind of colors the whole thing, is that they just weren't getting away. It was all kind of a pointless gesture.
When they waded through the stream, he's like, oh, they won't be able to catch us if we go through the stream. Oh well, they caught us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought the whole part about that scene that I thought was maybe a little false was like Sansa cuddling up with Theon, but after the stuff from last season, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
He wouldn't be that warm, though. Gross. But he wouldn't be that warm. Like, they would have to get naked to cuddle for there to be any sort of heat. It's just like, oh, yay, your wet, woolly clothes are making me even more cold now that we're huddled together.
They didn't have time for skin to skin and then have him run off as well. I mean, that's unrealistic, right?
Sure.
It didn't seem to help, so at least it was realistic. So how about the part with Brienne and Pod? Pod getting some XP points here in this little fight. Doing pretty good.
Brienne the badass.
And Pod the badass.
At first.
Come on.
I thought this whole scene was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but at first, like, when I had heard the hounds, I thought, oh, wait, but it can't be the Boltons because they tricked them with the stream. And then I thought, oh my god, are we gonna get some mountain clansmen out on a hunt? And then I'm like, nah, they wouldn't be that nice to book readers. And as soon as it turned out like it was Brienne and Pod to save the day, I'm like, of course.
Yeah,
it was pretty
Wall
obvious.
had to
won't
see that
be
coming.
there.
I felt really, really bad for Brienne. Third time's the charm. Please, please, please let me protect you.
But Gwendolyn Christie killed that. Like, that was great.
I mean, I teared up a little bit when they had the like she put down her sword and then Sansa's trying to remember the lines of everything, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening.
And then Theon threw on. It was like he added one of the lines of the.
No, it was Pod.
Spring.
No, that was
Pod had to give her the lines.
Oh,
yeah.
Pod.
No, but she looked to Theon. She looked to Theon to be like, "Advisor, is this okay?"
That was odd.
I was like,
nodded.
"Really?" Yeah, that was the cuddling and then that little weird.
That was a very weird moment. I agree. Why would she need Theon's approval there?
Well, because Iron Islanders put so much value on taking honorable oaths, and
And Theon is such a better bodyguard. I mean, she should just stick with him, right?
I think
totally.
he's her only ally right now, and that's it. Like, Sansa's so unsure in herself that she needs to look to Theon.
But this chick has traveled from King's Landing, or at least the Vale that she knows of.
Yeah, but she's been
that says a lot.
victimized. She's been through a whole lot of things.
Brienne has. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, she's come all this way, and she's just following her around being like, let me help. So... And she's got all the armor and swords, and she's better equipped.
Yeah, I don't it's odd that she wouldn't. I mean, she doesn't know Brienne still really, so that kind of makes sense. But it's odd that she would still need like confirmation to trust her. Like, why? I mean, Theon doesn't know her either, so I don't. I guess you're right that he's her only ally, and that's why she looked to him. But yeah, I think that she would have gotten a hint by now that this is someone that would help you. All right, anything else on this bit?
Nope.
Okay.
I just know Mihal hated the scene.
We can ask her about it maybe if she,
Oh,
she
no.
joins us. So let's go to King's Landing, where we have Cersei receiving word that Myrcella has returned to her. She goes to King's Landing's tiny little harbor to greet her daughter, but finds only Jaime waiting for her. The bells toll for another Lannister death. Cersei wonders what kind of shape her mother's dead body is in these days, and tells Jaime of the witch's prophecy promising 3 children and 3 deaths. Jaime tells her that they will take everything back no matter what it takes. So, thoughts on this scene?
I've never really bought Lena Headey's crying face that much, but I really dug her little happy, giddy, skipping across the courtyard like, yay, my daughter's home.
Yeah.
That was pretty crushing.
Yeah, that was actually pretty sad.
But other than that, I really hate that they've put I feel like we've had this conversation with Jaime and Cersei like 5 times.
That's true.
At least.
It felt like it's been done. I guess the thing is revealing the prophecy to him.
I think
And how did he react to that?
Fuck prophecy.
Like, what? He wasn't like, wait, what? When was this? What's going on? It's just like, oh, fuck that. Whatever.
It just feels like a regression. And it seems
Yeah.
like he's going to stick around in King's Landing for this season.
I don't think so.
I think this is more about Cersei than it is about Jaime, this whole scene. So
Yeah, but it looks like kind of like humbled Jaime is not even close to having happened right now, because now he's just like, yeah, fuck that, I'm gonna kill him, while Jaime in the books at like around this point in the Riverlands is just like, I'll kill if I need to, but I do not want to go out on like revenge sprees.
I don't think he's going to stay in King's Landing. I think it's, at least from like trailers and stuff, which I guess is added information, it seems like he's going to the Riverlands, but I guess like this whole scene is telegraphing that he's going to kill the Sand Snakes or something like that.
Someone better.
not back to Dorne, please.
Yeah.
Anything but Dorne.
Where's Bronn?
Where is Bronn? Where is he?
He's with lollies, okay?
He's getting that bad pussy.
All right, let's get the other bit in for King's Landing here. We have Margaery still trapped in the Sept, refusing to confess to Septa Unella. The High Sparrow arrives and tells her that Septa Unella is needed elsewhere. Margaery tells him that she has nothing to confess. I didn't finish this one, did I? But it shows her that yes, you need something to confess, and she seems to. He says that she's on the road to confession. That was really sloppy, but yeah, we get this. She's on the path.
Was this an odd scene?
I liked it. Maybe because I had a very visceral reaction to Septa Unella, who I think I want to die more than anybody on the show.
Shame.
Ugh. Reading the Bible at her all day. That's pretty. But Marjorie still looks pretty good for having been in prison for the past few weeks.
Her hair had kind of this prison chic thing going, I gotta say.
What is that actress's name?
Natalie Dormer.
Natalie Dormer. Yeah, she's just supernaturally beautiful. It doesn't matter if she's in prison.
Yep.
That's the real reason I like this scene.
So he talks about Tommen here. What is his game? What is the High Sparrow's plan? Is it just to get her to confess in another way, to like coerce her into confessing?
Maybe. Well, I think they may have alluded to. Did anybody see like up on Game of Thrones next time? They have that scene where Cersei's going to see Tommen, and they're like, the king has ordered, you cannot. So I'm thinking that maybe the High Septon is trying to get Marjorie and Tommen on his side so they can take down the rest of the royal people.
I mean, I could kind of see it. He used his powers of the they must confess law to get them into the sept and locked away, but now he's trying to maybe move them through without having to go against his own word.
I think he's just playing the good cop, bad cop thing.
Sure.
Because he's very persuasive when he comes in. Like, okay, if you're not going to confess to the big things, we can build up to the big things by giving away the little things first. Surely you have some little sins that will be okay to tell.
So what do you think she's going to confess to?
I mean, it could be anything. Like, oh, I've had doubts and I've had impure thoughts or whatever. And he's like, okay, go on. You're getting better. It just feels like kind of greasing the path. Yeah.
Do you think she'll talk about like the things with Renly and everything?
But there's nothing to confess there. She didn't sleep with him.
Tried to.
It's probably the problem, though.
Maybe it's her brother that they want.
She's so right that she really doesn't have anything to confess to, so I'm just wondering what she'll come up with. I mean, she has done some coercive stuff and everything, but I don't know if it...
Just realistic, like, if you were in that position, you would just make stuff up, and that would be the problem, because I think that's what he wants her to do, is like, if you keep giving me things, the more you give me, the faster I can get you out of the situation, and if you won't confess what I want you to confess, then, he's just trying to twist her into giving him information.
But it seems like that would be more useful with Cersei, and she's already out, so...
Yeah. Remains to be seen. Let's go ahead and go to the part that I anticipate will have the most discussion. Dorne. We have Dorne and Ilaria reminiscing about the late Oberyn Martell. A messenger arrives with word that the Princess Marcella is dead. The Sand Snakes immediately go into action, killing Arya Hotah and Doran in a flash.
We can't even... Dorne is still the worst.
I laughed. I laughed. So it was absurdly just poorly done and lazy, and what a waste of Bashir. I mean...
Fucking hell.
What did I say last season? It's just like, I hope they just finish Dorne off and we never go back again. And maybe this is kind of what they did.
Look what you did, Adam.
Hey, I'm happy.
I just thought it was going to lead into something more complicated, like him being pissed and, you fools, you foiled my plan.
He's secretly supporting Daenerys, and she's going to come back, and they're going to take over the kingdom, and that would maybe be a way to help her. By the end of the season, she has to kind of start heading to Westeros, right?
When this scene was first happening, I'm like, oh my god, Doran is walking, this is huge, and then the whole rest of it happened, and I was like, just dumbfounded by the entire thing. It just looked like one of those things where they like stab you and they just zoom in on the face and they're like, oh, total surprise.
let's break down the confusing elements in this scene. One, there's not really that much as far as guards around him. I mean, you got Arya Hotah and then those servants that just didn't seem to do anything or care about anything. And he lets the snakes around him because he trusts them. Does make sense. Okay. And they wait until word comes from King's Landing being like, hey, you killed my daughter, bitch. And then they just happen to be there at the right time when he gets that word to kill him. Why not just kill him before that?
Dramatic timing.
Have they just not left his side? They been waiting for like weeks. Okay, maybe today's the day. We're waiting for that note. And then they kill him, they kill Hotah, and they kill the messenger, and the other people are just standing around. I guess they were in on it the whole time?
Yeah.
That's the implication that nobody likes Doran anymore.
Bullshit reason.
Also, Arya Hotah, I know he's not much of a character, but did they just off the one black guy in the entire show?
Yeah, when he was supposed to be so much fucking cooler.
Salador San's out there somewhere.
He didn't get to do anything.
Yeah, all he did was get stabbed by the back, falls down, dies. Yeah, great scene, guys.
What lines did he even have?
I mean, I guess we're thinking about this in the scene with Trystane, like, oh, couldn't there have been like a cool fight scene? Couldn't someone have gone out cool? But Dorne was kind of universally hated last season, and maybe that's just kind of their way of writing this in. Like, sorry.
But this is why it was hated.
Yeah, this is even worse.
I know, but
like
I'm saying, like, maybe that's what they think. Maybe they think this is a way to make up for it. Like, we're just killing these people and moving on. Maybe they thought that's what the problem was. I don't know.
I feel like they were like, let's test this out this season and see if it works out. And it obviously didn't work out. And then they're like, all right, we're just, fuck it, we'll kill them all. And we'll keep the Sand Snakes in because we need more women in the show. Because people are mad about that.
I feel like it was like,
gotta get that bad pussy.
These people really... Oh, God damn it. I feel like they were just like, why does everyone hate Dorne? Well, how about for fixing it, we take out some of the only good actors who could actually show any emotion or any kind of good plotting, and instead keep the fucking Obara clones and vengeful Ilaria in there. Yeah.
I just wish they would
fucking
give
Bashir.
Ilaria some nuance, because, like, I love Indira Varma. I think she's a great actress. It's just... she has nothing to do but just be imperious and outraged and vicious and like there's no nuance to any of these characters anymore.
Oh, and the last confusing point, besides how they got on that damn ship, is what the fuck is her plan? She has no right to anything.
Apparently, bastards are really free in Dorne.
Yeah, in Dorne, like, they made a point that, you know, women can inherit and all this stuff, but is she saying that, like, the people want her to rule or something? Where's Darkstar?
I mean, it's not like we see, like, the people of Dorne at all. So I feel like they're just gonna be like, I'm gonna rule this castle, and there's not gonna be that many things to.
Dorne is like 100 people.
Yeah, I think it does feel like they're writing Dorne out of the show. That feels like what this is, and I agree. That is kind of an odd choice for a TV show to just. I mean, maybe some TV shows do this, but I guess Game of Thrones, it has all this reputation of being better than everything else on TV or whatever. At least a lot of stuff, and it just feels like a very flippant move to, like, yeah, just fuck that, get that out of here. But I guess if it's the right choice in the long run, that's fine. But like you guys say, this is a very sloppy way to handle it. Feels very offhanded.
Also,
because my worry is that Dorne isn't completely gone. That all of a sudden she's going to be leading Dorne into something.
That just makes no
like,
sense, though. God, I guess nothing makes sense.
It doesn't. That's why I'm afraid of it.
I also wonder, like, how many, like, since Dorne pretty much tanked last season, I wonder how many of the actors were like, I'm not going to do it again with their contracts and stuff.
Then
like,
why aren't the Sand Snakes gone?
I know, but, well, I mean, they probably enjoy it, but...
Oh, those poor
no,
people.
I mean, like...
they probably have
more like those
payments,
actors...
let's be real.
Yeah, well... I'm trying to think of the actor that plays Duran. Like, how much was he invested in all of this?
I don't think investment has anything to do with it. I think it was a job, and I bet if you asked him what his character was about, he probably couldn't give you an answer.
He was like, we went to this cool museum, and they had me, like, sit in clothes for a few days, and I don't really know what happened. I got killed.
It's Alexander Siddig, by the way. And yeah, I couldn't describe his character if I was put under pressure to describe what Doran was in the show. So I wouldn't blame him if he couldn't do it either.
And he was just, like, jealous of his brother. Like, that's how he goes out.
Nah, I didn't really see it as, like, jealous. I think.
Well, but he was just sort of, like, musing, like, oh, I never get to go anywhere. And she's like, yeah, you don't go anywhere, die for it. Damn.
It sucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on that note, let's go ahead and move to Meereen, hopefully less sucky, where we get Tyrion and Varys walking the streets. Varys assures a poor woman that Tyrion does not want to eat her baby and gives her some coin. They find a priest of Roller preaching to their crowd. He urges the people to take up the flame of the Queen of Dragons while she is away. As they walk along, they hear the sounds of chaos and run to the harbor, where they find the ships aflame. Well, we won't be sailing to Westeros anytime soon, says Tyrion.
And you hear 1,000 people groan.
Was that necessary?
It was on the nose.
That line was, apparently.
Also, did I miss when they got a giant fleet? When did that happen?
That happened in the third or fourth season. No, fourth season.
Well, didn't like Duck Sauce? He came and he offered them boats and stuff, but I didn't think it was that many.
They didn't do that in the show either. Duck Sauce never shows up.
Yeah, they didn't do that in the show.
It was really quick and in passing, because I think some people pointed out that, like, they weren't doing the Victorian storyline because of it. They were like, oh, we just got these 90 ships in our, like, from something, and then they were like, oh, that's great, and then somebody was talking about, like, this means that there's no Victorian.
They're like, yeah, Marine Customs confiscated all these ships. You need them?
I think this has to confirm then that that's how we're getting back, is we have to wait for the Greyjoys to arrive.
Probably. And we know they're in the show now.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see that maybe they left themselves options to either not put the Greyjoys in and just not do that plot, and now they're like, oh well, we're gonna have them in, so burn the ships, and the same result will happen whenever Dany gets back, I guess.
Just
I'm fine with that.
Waiting on the shore with a cell phone. Oh, we can do Greyjoys. Drop a torch on the ships.
Well, I mean, like when you're writing a show like this, you do have to give yourself options. So you'll lay groundwork for stuff that maybe doesn't come up later because you don't have time or whatever, or you have to rework. I mean, that's fine.
Well, sure, but aren't we getting the Kingsmoot this season?
I think so.
It just seems like those are the pieces that are going to click into place, because other words, there's no way to get across the ocean.
Yeah.
They could take the bone way.
Or we just never go back to Westeros.
Well, I mean, there's always the option of just going over land, and then, they arrive at, one of the free cities and sail over, sure.
We'll see. I do think you're right, though, Adam, that this is like them setting up Greyjoys. This is the way they're going to do it with just the burning of the ships. It seems like...
I know. But wait, did Ramsay get to Meereen and burn those ships?
Oh, yeah.
How did that happen, so quickly?
Sons of the Harpy, I guess.
Same way the Sand Snakes got on the ship. Ramsay's a Merling as well.
I'm going to laugh if... next episode, Tyrion goes down and sets the dragons free, and the way that we get out of this marine morass is just Dany comes back and the city is ashes. There is no
a few
marine.
of them just fly away.
What is this, Dorne?
Oh, did anyone else think that maybe the smoke was the dragons getting their way out of captivity?
For a second, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the whole city was burning down for a second. And I was like, oh, bye Meereen. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah. It's the water. Okay.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up.
That'd be funny if they just burned everything people don't like. They just burned it all to the ground. That'd be a way to do it, I guess.
Or just stabs them.
Grey Worm is the harpy.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to see those characters.
They're still alive, I think, though, right? He's still around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Miss Sandy.
I'm always amused to see Tyrion and Varys together. So
yeah,
it was
I love that.
Good exchanges.
There was some good this and a couple other scenes. There was some good subtitle jokes and stuff going on in this episode. But also Tyrion and Varys, we can agree they're both very smart, right? They're both very cunning, and they're walking around talking about how the city's empty and around the corner people just want to murder you, and they don't have any guards with them.
No one knows who they are.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same question.
The only dwarf in the city.
But they don't know who Tyrion is. He's not a target, is he?
Isn't he ruling the city now?
Yes, but do they know that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, regardless if they know, he's still a dwarf. He's still vulnerable. If someone wanted to rob him, they could.
And he's not one of the Meereenese. He's not from around there. That's pretty clear.
I found a cock merchant. Finally, it took me a whole season, but now,
guys,
all right, here's that dwarf.
Varys is the leader of the Faceless Men. He can take anybody. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I did note, while watching, that they were dressed very informally, so maybe they're just blending in. But I was still
there's no one to blend in with.
Wearing their Jedi robes.
Yeah. But I mean, they don't look obviously like royalty like Daenerys always did.
No, but I mean, I get that. But my point was that they were just saying that, hey, if you're out on the streets, people will be murdering you. It doesn't really matter who you are. Yeah. And they're out on the streets with no one around.
Yeah, for a minute, Varys was doing something weird with his sleeves, and I'm like, is he got an Assassin's Creed blade under there that he's gonna take out in a minute?
Nice.
He definitely does.
I like how he's like, my little birds are out gathering whispers, and then there's this massive fire, and no one has told him yet, and he's just like, I wonder what this is.
He hasn't gotten the infrastructure
in place
yet. Yeah. It's taking time.
To be fair, I only have 2 birds. It takes a while to get a bird network off the ground.
Yeah, you got to start small. We get the start of, I assume, a plot point that they're going to be putting some weight on in this season, which is that the Red Priests of R'hllor are behind Dany. We get a little bit of that in the book also, and it seems like that is going to be important, that they are her support. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see another member of the R'hllorism there.
And I'm sure we'll get more of that. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the Dothraki Sea, where we have Jorah and Daario continuing their pursuit of Daenerys. Daario makes fun of Jorah's permanent friend zone position, and Jorah has a look at his grayscale, which has spread up his arm. They find marks of a Dothraki horde, which are very obvious, and Dany's ring, less obvious, sitting in the grass. Jorah puts 2 and 2 together. So, any thoughts on this little bit with Jorah and Daario on the hunt?
There should have been a small little elven brooch right next to it, and Jorah's just like, not idly do the leaves of Lothlorien fall.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just absurd that he could find that huge, vast wasteland, but whatever. I get it.
Well, to be fair,
and
it's
so
like,
quickly.
It's encircled by a bunch of horse prints. Like, it's this giant circle of horse prints, and in the middle is like this patch of grass that's untouched.
And
so
like
he doesn't have
blight.
he doesn't have a huge search area.
Whatever. I guess I don't need to buy it. I'll just accept
It's
it.
fine.
I mean, this whole scene, I was like, Super Dario and Jorah the Explorer back at it again.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so just playful and weird and comic relief.
Sure.
It's just weird to think of Dario, like he even says Jorah is older than him by a significant margin, maybe. It's just weird to see him acting like he's young and inexperienced and kind of talking like a cho, just naive.
And this is kind of a weird thing because we see her surrounded by a bunch of riders at the end of the season, and we see this big circle of prints and stuff, and they carried her off, and they didn't know who she was or have any idea of her significance. I mean, if they see like a blonde lady out in the grass somewhere, do they send like 1,000 riders?
I think
to
it was
go
just
get
a
her?
party that
Is that like
found her.
routine?
I think it was just a party of Dothraki doing Dothraki stuff, and they found her out there.
Mostly just happenstance.
But you think if it's one woman, they just send a couple guys over to get her, right? Like, it's kind of weird that there was so many.
Maybe they had some other purpose. It is out for like a scouting party though, but I guess they travel in force. Yeah, this dynamic, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's weird though because they're very antagonistic, which I guess is fine. But yeah, it's not as exciting or fun as some of the other pairings we've got.
I don't think Dario's gonna live to see the end of the season. I think he's out.
He can take his place finally as Euron.
He'll just change his face.
Yeah.
I would like that to happen. Like if they're gonna go insane and absurd, I want them to take it to a level.
All the way. I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah. I mean, if that's not a thing in the books at all, it can still be a thing in the show, please.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so speaking of things that are so far only in the show, we have a pair of Dothraki talking about what they plan to do with Daenerys as the Horde moves west. They take her to Khal Morro, whose wives urge him to cut off the witch's head. His blood riders make their own cases for what is best in life. They rank seeing a naked woman for the first time in the top 5, so pretty good. Daenerys drops her many titles, but the Dothraki assure her she is nothing but a slave now. When she tells him that she was Khal Drogo's wife, however, the Khal cuts her bindings and tells her that she will go to Vaes Dothrak to join the Dosh Khaleen. So, kind of all anticipated how this would all play out, but yeah, funny, really funny scene. Probably my favorite scene as far as that goes. All the back talk from the various Dothraki people.
I love that.
I like how the Khal was so imposing, but then his blood riders are like, yeah, no, this is better than that. He's like, okay, well, it's at least at the top 5, guys.
Yeah.
It's very slapstick, but because it's in Dothraki, it's not meant to feel that way as much.
It doesn't sound as
it's very much like, it's number one thing, seeing a naked woman. Oh, but hey, what about defeating another Khal, or raping a bunch of women that we just met, or Okay, I get it. It's totally top 5, yeah. And then, was anyone else afraid of yet another rape on the show? When
it was pretty bad. Yeah.
I'm just like, if they don't recognize her, this is not going to go well.
I enjoyed the irony that she is in danger of being killed as a witch. like that whole thing about killing Miriam as Dor as a witch in the first season is suddenly just coming back maybe to bite her cosmically. Of course that didn't happen, so.
I like how he's knowing since my wives hate you, you of course must be really beautiful.
Yeah, it's like if my wives want someone's head cut off, they jealous as shit.
Yep.
I was a little bit surprised that I think Adam was saying earlier that they didn't realize it was Dany. It took them that long to... How many people look like Dany there? Yeah. It's process of elimination.
This chick wears the same outfit every damn day. She got the dragons around her neck. She got that hair that no one else has. Come on. You're sitting there. You're speculating about. Yeah, she knows Dothraki. You're speculating about if the curtains match the drapes. Come on. You've paid some attention.
Not even them, but the actual Khal that's there.
They're just not in the loop with each other. I guess maybe they did. They weren't at Vaes Dothrak when she was there. That would have been their only chance to encounter each other.
I was thinking it would be one of Drogo's former.
It's not this time, though, I guess.
Or something,
that's what it is in the book, but it's not for the show. It's just some other Khalasar.
If you asked me, what does Vladimir Putin's wife look like, I couldn't tell you, and I have Google News. They don't. So
I know, but like they're all darker skin, darker hair. Like someone that has like literally white hair would really stand out.
It would be reasonable that stories of the Dragon Lady would have reached them, but I guess they just didn't. Like that just never happened. So I guess the Dothraki don't get.
They kill people. Like someone's coming to bring news and they just slit their throat. You know, there's no newspapers for them to read. It's like that guy was traveling bringing news and you killed him.
So where does this go next then? This whole sequence with the Dothraki. Obviously, she's probably not going to become a crone at the Dash Kaleen. That would be a weird way to end Dany's story. So
I feel like they'll reach Vias Dothrak, but something will change when they're there. Maybe the Dash Kaleen have like a prophecy. Yeah, there's that too.
The dragon shows up and they have another prophecy moment.
They're like, oh yeah, we follow her now. Dragon, I hope.
Mobilize.
Wouldn't her becoming one of the Dash Kaleen and just being like, we don't go back to her, be kind of a George thing to do?
No.
I mean, like it's the worst, but I mean, it's kind of just like a terrible. It's like cutting a story off and being like, haha.
Cut stories off though. There's always ripple effects.
No, like there's always He cuts characters off in the middle of stories.
This would be just killing so much development. That would never happen. But yeah, obviously I'm joking about that. But yeah, probably she'll mobilize them. They'll see the dragon. They'll see Drogon and they'll be like, "You're cool now. You're cool. We'll follow you."
I have a quick question. Do we have 10 episodes this season?
Yeah, 10 for this season.
Yes.
There has been talk about less for the next 2, right?
I think that they at least confirmed that season 8 will have less. Okay. They're nothing about season 7 yet, though.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
All right. We'll see. But we do get 10 for now, so looking forward to that, I guess. But let's go ahead and finish this one out with a couple more scenes, starting with a short scene in Braavos where we have Arya, blind and beggared, sitting in the streets. The waif arrives and gives her a stick and starts beating her with her own. Arya makes a poor showing of herself since she is blind and all. The waif beats her brutally and promises that she will return again tomorrow. So Arya training to be an assassin. As we thought, not a whole lot to say really.
Oh, this was boring. It's just another season of Arya undergoing cruel tutelage.
Yep. Anyone have any other thoughts on it?
Hopefully it goes somewhere quick.
Yeah. I was a little bit sad for Arya, but I was like, I expected this.
Yeah, it was pretty expected. I find it a little strange the training is happening out in the middle of the street. That seems a little odd to me.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess people aren't going to stand up to help a blind girl. Maybe because they're all poor and don't care or something.
But this is clearly going to evolve into actual fighting. Why would... I guess the Faceless Men, like, people know what they are and what they do, and maybe they don't care. But, yeah, it's a little strange.
Well, isn't the purpose for her to kind of survive on the streets? Like, is she even allowed to go back to
probably not. So I guess that's the reason, but... Yeah, it's a little bizarre, but not a huge thing. All right, well, that's it for Braavos. We'll check back later, I'm sure. And we'll end then with the last scene we get on the wall, where Alistair goes to confront Davos and his band of Night's Watchmen. He promises them amnesty if they give up. Davos says that they'll discuss it, of course, Mutton being in the stipulation. The group is certain that Alistair will slaughter them if they let him in, and must wait for Dolores Ed's coming. Meanwhile, Melisandre looks in the mirror and decides this is a good time to disrobe. She takes off her necklace and releases her glamour, then goes to bed. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. Going to bed. Old Melisandre.
Right. She's still kind of in the same area with them, right?
Yeah, she's just kind of off to the side. In the side
that's dangerous, taking that necklace off.
I did like the way this was shot, though. Just the focus on the mirror and then not being able to see her at first. And
yeah.
It was pretty good. I knew it was coming pretty early when she started looking at the mirror. Some people, like, I guess, were pretty shocked by this. Obviously, they didn't know about the glamour. I was talking to some show watcher people before we started, and yeah, this whole sequence was pretty shocking. But yeah, it didn't hit much for me because this is how I kind of pictured it.
My friend was sitting next to me, and she was going, "Wait, why is she undressing?" And I'm like, "Titty quota. They gotta fulfill that."
And she still looks fantastic.
Yeah. If anything,
for a few centuries,
I thought she would look like the grandma's mother in SpongeBob. If anyone gets that reference, I was alive before they invented chocolate. That lady, I thought she'd just be a third.
Oh my god!
But she wasn't. It was fine.
I would back up a second with the whole. Everybody kind of being in a standoff mode there. Davos is great. Like, okay, we're going to discuss it. We'll get back to you. We're all going to discuss this amongst ourselves. It's like so adorable. But what have they done other than not show up to breakfast? Like, I mean, I guess they figured out like that Jon Snow's body is in there, and they've got ghosts. But really, does this warrant like 20 dudes with crossbows, trained on the room? Like, do they really think they're gonna run out of that room and go kill everyone?
Is it assumed that they're traitors?
I think so.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, like are they thinking like, well, we're traitors and we killed Jon Snow, and you're still loyal, so you're traitors now because we've all switched sides. What?
Alistair's just like, they skipped the waffle breakfast. Something must be up.
Hey, I released the salted meat from the stores and they didn't show up. We only normally do that on Tuesdays.
They should know about that. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Where's that dead body we just kind of left out in the open?
Yeah. Who moved that body? Why is their first thought that he's a zombie and he got up and walked off to eat their rings?
If I was one of the guys who stabbed Jon Snow and then just saw his body gone, I'd just be like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Oh guys.
Or maybe like go knocking doors, like, hey, have you seen a Jon Snow body? Anybody see a Jon Snow body? No.
He's certainly not dead. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I saw a body and I went to get someone and I came back and it was gone.
Looked a bit like Jon Snow. I'm not saying that I stabbed him. We got to wait till breakfast to reveal that.
Yeah, they already admitted that. But yeah, no one stayed up to keep an eye on the body, I guess, because that makes them look guilty, but then they were going to admit that anyway.
I mean, I just imagine them all like sitting up from like one of the rooms and be like, "Ooh, who's going to find it first?" Like they're looking out and they're just trying to see, like that's how they know that Davos took him and stuff.
Or it was just, all right, we killed him. Who's going to pick up the body? I don't want to pick up the body. No, I'm not going to pick it up either. Well, Ollie's too small to pick it up. We'll just leave it.
Well, yeah, I was thinking back to when we first see them. I was thinking back to like, oh, Longclaw's still there and all that because we see it in the trailer and like, oh, that makes sense because if someone took Longclaw or remove the body or whatever, then it would be obvious they were the ones that did this murder and they're still trying to hide it. And then we get to that scene with Thorne just being like, we killed the Lord Commander, and you're like, oh, so why not like have him hung up on display for everyone to see?
When there's just a big Valyrian steel sword just kind of laying down, how is no one just like, well, he's not going to be using it, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure there's a reason for the story why they want to keep that around, but it does seem a bit odd if they weren't trying to cover it up, why they
when there's like 20 people involved, there's no way you're going to be able to cover it up, so they just decided to be honest.
No, I mean that's my point. It's like why not string him up somewhere and take all of his shit.
That would be I don't get the impression that they want to be grotesque about it. Thorne makes it sound like I did what I had to. I didn't do it because I hated him.
And they could have also he could have also played it off and said, "Oh, well, Jon Snow told me he was going to go he was going to go march on Winterfell or something." Like he could have made some shit up too to help justify that if he wanted, but he seems to think that letting the wildlings come through is enough to sway the murderers and rapists in the room.
He just doesn't seem like the kind of guy to make a story up to. He just doesn't seem to have that in him.
I mean, we all liked Thorne last season, right?
I thought he was okay.
He seemed to be coming around until the
end. I thought maybe they were going to replace some of the people that they killed off with Thorne, and like someone else would be part of the murder. So I was kind of sad when that happened.
Could someone remind me why Davos got sent back to Castle Black?
To get help?
Because, and Stannis was like, well, I can't have him around when I make the great decision of burning my daughter alive.
Yeah, that was basically it.
Season 5.
But like he got to Castle Black and he's not doing anything though. He just seems to have gone to bed.
There's nothing left for him to do. He has no king, he has no cause.
I guess he got there, and what was he even doing?
I think he was like supposed to like arrange stuff with the Night's Watch, but
supplies or something.
Yeah, like supplies just in case. And
because I guess he was up and talking to people when Melisandre showed up and was just like, yeah, Stannis is dead. It's all over. I ran.
It's weird that they want to kill him too, because it's the impression that that's what Davos believes is like they're gonna kill us all.
Well, I feel like it's more like tying up loose ends. Yep. You don't really want a story going around how like the Night's Watch killed their own Lord Commander.
I guess it just seems so.
Yeah.
Like, what is he gonna do?
Davos, especially if he goes and tells someone, and someone decides to go and replace some people at the Night's Watch. Not that people seem to care much about the Night's Watch at this point in the realm.
Well, imagine what Stannis would do if he found out.
So am I the only one that thinks that Davos and Mel are gonna get it on to make a shadow baby?
I don't want to think about that.
Swear to God. I don't want to see what he smuggles into her.
I would much rather it be Dolorous Ed, because that would be funny.
Oh my God. Yes.
You need a shadow baby to help get us out of this. All right.
No, he wouldn't be happy about it. He would still be like, another drag.
Like, if I gotta do it, damn, this hot old lady.
Doesn't he say in the trailer, like, I don't want you to see what I'm about to do? Is that what
but I don't think that's what he's talking about.
Oh, God.
That's as he pulls his sword out.
Wait a minute. May have figured it out.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
It's just gonna be, I would, again, kind of like the absurdity of Dario taking his face off. I would not be opposed to a shadow baby killing everybody in Castle
Go for it.
Yeah, Tormund shows up. It's like, what's going on? Nothing. What's the gestation period on a shadow baby? Like, it took like half a day or so?
A few hours, maybe.
I wonder if a shadow baby could kill a White Walker, now that I kind of think about it.
Like,
oh gosh, we have to know now.
this is like a Godzilla versus Mothra conversation.
Can we get like an epic battle between the Night's King and
what about the
baby?
real baby, the White Walker baby, and the shadow baby? They can fight.
Baby fight.
Ooh.
They can be BFFs.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
A shadow baby that looks like Dolorous Ed.
Dolores?
Dolores.
Whatever, you say
Dolores.
Brian, so I wouldn't be talking too much.
Is that like Mrs. Doubtfire?
It's like Myra-Seller or
It's
Styre.
just-
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Pitire.
Just a note. I'm really a fan of. It's kind of out of place, I guess, but I just love Davos so far. He feels very light. He's just taking it all in stride.
I enjoy Davos,
and it's fun.
Well, he's like the only real anchor we have. It feels like we have left, because who's left other than him? Then there's Dany, and then a bunch of children. Oh yeah, and then Jaime and Cersei.
And he's kind of the only one that hasn't really been traumatized. I mean, yet he'll be traumatized soon.
I think we might get the Blackfish in this season, because in the trailer you see the Tully sigil behind Brienne and Podrick.
Is he really an anchor for the show, though? I don't know.
No. What a useless character.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get the phrase soon.
We're left with bad guys and people who are really, really sad, and there's Davos, he's holding it together pretty well.
Yeah.
Davos is still kind of us, you know? He's still kind of just like rolling with it, not really too impressed by anything, and not like falling into the bullshit.
Nobody hates Davos. Everybody loves Davos.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like the Joe Everyman of the series, where he literally is the only peasant we ever really get to talk to.
Just wait until Davos kills Sansa at the end of the season. Just assassinate her.
He's like, and then he pulls out Lightbringer.
He burns her alive to get the king's blood.
Oh my God.
What if he just named himself king? Then he could just use his own blood. Like
The Onion King.
I don't really understand how it works.
It doesn't. That's why Stannis lost.
Yeah. No, it changed the weather. I mean, not that weather pattern wasn't going to be moving along anyway, but you know, whatever.
No character will go unassassinated if the writers have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, like we think Davos isn't going to like just die in 2 episodes or something, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
Hope not.
He better not.
Oh wait,
damn it.
I have a continuity question. So I feel like maybe I just like wasn't seeing it right, but when we saw Winterfell, like the outside of Winterfell and the battlefield that was there, I guess, is there snow? Because I thought that there wasn't snow, and then like it should be.
They jump into snow, I think, right? Or they'd be dead.
No, but she's talking about the castle, like seeing the castle.
They jump off the side of Winterfell, so there must be snow somewhere.
Yeah.
But there was no snow on that part where Stannis fought. It's been...
Yeah, but there can't be a giant snowbank at just one spot, and that's
they had to clear the driveway.
Well, that's called a
they
snowdrift.
just kind of pushed all the snow
you
up
can't
there.
have a battle with snow everywhere. You get the snowplows in there.
If you live somewhere, if you've ever lived somewhere where it snows and there's a lot of wind, you'll get these 8-foot snow drifts like up the side of a barn or something weird, even though there's no snow 10 feet away. Like, that does happen.
You know, I used to blame the logic problems on the fact that they were forcing themselves to be faithful to an adaptation, and so that's why they sort of had to cut corners, but now it's like you have no excuse. You can't just have the sand snakes show up on a ship where they're not supposed to be, and you can't just have Sansa and Theon survive a 100-foot drop onto rocks.
And wade through water.
And it's like they've been hanging a lantern on a bunch of the stuff that we called bullshit on last season, right? Like in that scene with Theon when he's like, it's just me, she fell and broke her legs and stuff. And they're like, yeah, bullshit, there was a ton of snow, bro. She didn't break her legs. Not even the guards believe that, right? Oh, okay, I guess then.
It's not just, I mean, that crossing at the river they would have both died. Like, it would not be enough to just
yeah, Sansa dies next episode of just hypothermia on their way to civilization.
She would lose her feet. She would not be able to walk after they got out of that river.
Yeah, but see, like that's something I can suspend my disbelief a bit on that, because maybe it's warmer than we thought. Maybe whatever, But somehow getting onto a boat that's still in the harbor in King's Landing, I don't really understand. I think that's where it is, or was the boat on the way back? Stuff like that.
It's like in the middle of the ocean.
But why is he still in the boat? Yeah. Why did they not bring him ashore?
Because he has to paint his stones.
Poor Tristan.
He's in the boat with a sword instead of like, well, you're a hostage now, bitch.
I felt really bad for that character and that actor. I guess it's like he was just a dopey kid. He didn't deserve to have a spear pushed through his head. Whatever.
I mean, I get annoyed with my cousin sometimes, but Jesus.
You got to admit, like, you laughed out loud when you saw that spear pop through his head.
Yep.
Like, I was like, okay, he's about to die, but like, he's like, who are you gonna fight? And I'm like, he's turning his back on one of them. And before I had a second to even think, it's like, oh yeah, all right, that's what they're doing. That's hilarious.
I laughed, but it wasn't like, oh, that's funny that happened to that character. It was like, oh, Dave
it's
and
ridiculous.
Dan.
It was a dry, sad laugh.
Yep. It's like it makes me feel like that scene in Anchorman where he throws the burrito on the guy or whatever, and he picks his dog and he's like, now this is happening, and just punts him off the bridge. You're like, oh, I guess, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And, alright, this is going back to Dorne and just me being angry, but hear me out. The Sand Snakes and Ilaria, you won't take revenge on our dead family members, so we're going to kill you, our last remaining family members. Great logic, guys. Fuck off.
Yeah, they only care about Oberyn, though.
But it was Oberyn's brother.
I know, it's again who has a claim, and his son who has a claim, and none of you who have a claim on anything. I don't care if women can inherit.
They're all still bastards.
There are no lords.
Hilaria has no Martell blood in her whatsoever. She's an Uller bastard. And her daughters are way down in line. I mean, because when he said my son, and I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna say Quentin's gonna come and wreck shit?
Dude, what if that's what happened?
I'm like,
what if Quentin shows up and just kills everybody?
Did they specifically state anything like I have one son or like I have no daughters? Or we didn't see them, but
Quentin and Arianne show up and kill everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see any of that. I'm not advocating that at all at this point. But I'm just wondering if there's some loop, if they're gonna try to make something happen there. That's all.
I will give my right leg to just see the Sand Snakes just get killed in like the best ways. They are like next to Walder Frey kind of.
What would be great is if like one of them kills the others, and it's just like, well, now I'm the princess. And
there can only be one.
Yeah, and then she like takes the throne, and the people are like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, this comes back to the fact that there are no minor lords anywhere in the show. There's no court anywhere in the show, and so it's like, oh, now I'm queen, and nobody can object because there's nobody else in this palace, I guess, or in this country.
Dorne is made up of like 15 people, so.
Yeah, I mean, I get that their time in that space is limited because of where it is and all that, but they could have done like interior shots, and
they're also still just like
it seems like they just wanted to get out of there.
They're also still just in the Water Gardens, so they can't assert any kind of new dominion or monarchy or institution.
Well, no. That if you remember from the map at the beginning of the show, which is very helpful. That is not the Water Gardens, nor is it Sunspear. That is just Dorne.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
the city of
That is
Dorne.
all of
Just
Dorne.
Dorne.
So,
That's
I guess
it.
That is the
I mean,
city
you
of
kill
Dorne.
everybody there.
Yeah.
You can roll that. So I guess they won.
Well, basically, because like they can't send out any other messages because they killed their fucking maester. Well done, guys.
Well, I think that is a good place to end. Lots of discussion on Dorne. I'm sure we'll get more interesting stuff that will happen. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, good stuff, guys. That was a lot of fun, and we'll be back. DragonCast will be back next week to review the second episode of Season 6, titled Home. Again, it'll be directed by Jeremy Podswa. I think that's how you say that, as this one was. The way they're doing it this whole season is they have the same director do 2 episodes throughout, so that'll be interesting. I thought, it was a solid episode, so hopefully the next one will be okay, too.
It's 2 episodes in a row
Right,
for all
yeah,
the directors,
so they all do
right?
2.
Yeah.
And that's how it will go. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me for this. It was a lot of fun, and we'll be back next time. And thank you for listening. Check us out on all the places, the VOK Podcast, WordPress, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Tumblr, everything. Just Google Vassals of Kingsgrave. That's usually helpful if you want to find us. So yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon. Bye.
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 Bye.